Receiving your content. Your audience will see you in a moment. Get ready. You are now live. Hello, everybody. This is another new release live little show thing that I do where I talk about the books that were released today and just kind of look at Goodreads, see what people think about them, see if there's any books that I might want to read, and try to get as much information about new books as possible so that I can just be informed about new books. Let's tweet out live talking about the new releases for today, June 28th. This year has flown by. 28th already. Let's make sure that link works. And it does work. Alright, here we go. So, this is me talking about new releases. I do this every week. I didn't do it last week. I really messed up my back really badly. I've had issues with my back all my life. So I had to really take it easy, and I just too much pain to sit at the desk last week. Hopefully I'll be okay this week. Alright, so the thing I use the most right away is Barnes & Noble Science Fiction and Fantasy blog, an amazing blog run by Joel Cunningham, and he is just putting out amazing content for Barnes & Noble, and I think that it's one of the best places nowadays to learn about new SFF. And so this is his picks for this week. And then we'll go over to Amazon and check out things that were released as well and see how they're doing as far as sales, things like that. So the big release this week is by Michael J. Sullivan. I am excited about this book. I've only read his first book, Theft of Swords, and it was fantastic. And I'm on the second book. And I'm on a book buying ban at the moment, but this is the one that is tempting for me to get just because I would like to support him as an author, because I just like him as a person. But anyways, Age of Myth by Michael J. Sullivan. This is a new series, book 1 of the Legends of the First Empire. Sullivan returns to Elan with a standalone prequel set 3,000 years before the events of the Rhaegar Chronicles. So this is way in the past, and offers up an irresistible premise. When Wraith and Herkimer of the Durahan clan venture across the Burn River into the forbidden land of the gods, they are almost immediately detected and confronted. In the ensuing conflict, Wraith kills a Frey, which should be impossible as the Frey are thought to be immortal gods. This sets in motion an epic chain of events as the foundations of society are shaken by the revelation. After all, if your gods can be killed, why would you worship them if you can make war on them? Sullivan brings his masterful world-building and agile imagination to bear on a host of interesting characters in a story that feels new and vibrant. Knowing him, he's probably connecting this series with the Rhaegar Chronicles. A lot of the stuff that happens in those probably was set up in this series here, so it's going to be very interesting to read this. I think there's going to be 5 books from this series, and what Michael J. Sullivan does that I like more than any other author is he writes the entire series before he releases the first book, so he knows how the series is going to end. He knows what's going to happen in the middle, and so he can then go back and put things in that connect the first book with the fourth, and the second with the fifth, and so on and so forth, to make it seem much more epic in scope when things tie back to previous books. It's just an amazing experience as a reader, and I love it. This is only 432 pages, hardcover. This is one of his first hard push hardcovers by Del Rey. And Michael J. Sullivan, if you guys didn't know, he was a huge self-published author, and he really made it huge. Alright, so who's read this on my friends list? So quite a few people, because a lot of people like Michael J. Sullivan that I'm friends with. Melanie, art provided by Net Gallery. She gave this a 5. She absolutely loved it. This book kind of gave me a Mistborn vibe, which is pretty cool. Connor gave it a 4. He has a spoiler-free video out, so check that out if you want to see the video. Caitlin gave it a 4.5, I believe. Yeah, 4.5. And she really liked it as well. Michael J. Sullivan is an auto-buy author for her. And major characters are Wraith, Persephone, and Suri. So yeah, she really enjoyed it, 4.5. She urges us to give it a try. Catherine, she gave it a 5. She really enjoyed it as well. She says it's a good starting place for new readers who want to try out Sullivan's writing, so that's good too. She says he's one of my favorite fantasy writers, and I have absolutely no complaints about this book. It was marvelous. I know epic fantasy isn't for everyone, but this book reminded me of why I loved it. Leah gave it a 4. She really enjoyed it. Cora, 5. Chris gave it a 4. Samantha from Sam's Nonsense, she gave it a 4. So a lot of people really enjoying this. A lot of people want to read this. A lot of people love Michael J. Sullivan on BookTube, on Our Fantasy, everywhere. Mogsy from Bibliosanctum gave it a 4.5. Oh, I should mention, I added a bunch of book blogs on my people I follow, so to have more people on here. And yeah, so it's doing really good right now. I think if you like epic fantasy, if you're into epic fantasy still, Michael J. Sullivan, Age of Myth is definitely the book to check out right now. Okay, moving on. Descendant by Jenna Black. Black's Descendant series. So this is a big series, probably. Oh, wait. The Complete Nikki Glass series. Okay. Descendant, the Complete Nikki Glass series. So this is an omnibus of her books. Let's look it up real quick. Nikki Glass 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it's 4 books in one. Yep. And with the 4 books in one, it comes out to 880 pages. Wow. And paperback. So it's a big trade paperback. Okay, Black's Descendant series gets the omnibus treatment, collecting 3 novels, Dark Descendant, Deadly Descendant, and Rogue Descendant, along with a previously digital-only novella, Pros and Cons, that bridges the story between the second and third books. In a world where all the ancient gods are real, and more importantly, all their children variously immortal and superpowered, and to say the least, maladjusted, Nikki Glass is the descendant of Artemis the Huntress, working as a private investigator. In Glass, Black has created a well-rounded character who rises above cliché and reacts in believable ways to incredible events, making it a series worth devouring one go. So this is basically kind of like Percy Jackson, only more for adults, I'm thinking. More urban fantasy-ish. And all about the gods and the gods' children. See if anyone I know has read any of her books. Let's go back to the first book, the Nikki Glass #1. See if anyone has read it. Dark Descendant. It has a 3.8 with a 5,800 ratings, so it's relatively popular. It's not super popular, but some people have read it. None of my friends have read it, and none of the people I follow have read it. So, there you go. Urban mythology, paranormal romance, adult mythology gods. If that's something that interests you, check out the Descendant Omnibus here. All right, here we go. Hope in Red by John Skavron. Skavron's first foray into adult fiction is an unexpected ride into a richly imagined fictional world. On an island realm ruled by amoral and self-interested biomancers, men and women skilled in a powerful combination of magic and science. 2 children from vastly different backgrounds come of age. Bleak Hope survives destruction of her village. Her name is Bleak Hope. That is depressing. Okay, anyways, by a biomancer and is trained by a group of warrior priests for revenge. Red is the son of drug addicts and prostitutes, trained to be the greatest thief the world has ever known. That their fates are intertwined is a given, but Skavron's briskly paced story doesn't skimp on the world building, and thank goodness, because it's quite a world. Hope and Red. So we have Bleak Hope, and then someone else named Red. One seeks power, the other seeks vengeance. Hope and Red. Gotta admit, this sounds cheesy as all cheese. Okay. It has a 4 right now, 45 ratings. Lisa from Tenacious Reader gave it a 3. Hope and Red could be fun. Could be the fun read you're looking for, especially if you love stories about thieves and vengeance and warrior women. DJ from My Life, My Books, My Escape gave it a 3.5. A story of vengeance and love. I'm busy. Okay. Alright. That was my father giving me something. Sorry about that. Let's see. A bunch of people has it marked to red. Looking at the people that has it marked to red, it looks like a lot of the urban fantasy readers might want to check it out. People I follow. Anya. Got it. I liked most of the first chapters, but the C word is one of the few that I can't abide and won't want to read, so I'm done. So she DNF'd it. If the C word bothers you too much, probably not for you. And this guy here says, started promising and then became way too YA-ish for my taste, by Liv You. Where's Liv You? He's from Fantasy Book Critic. And then Anya is from Books on Dragon Wings. So yeah. Looks pretty average, but you know, a lot of people might be interested in it. Okay, Icon by Genevieve Valentine. This is the sequel to Persona, I believe. I thought about getting Persona. It's at Ollie's. If you don't know what Ollie's is, it's like this really deep discounted store that has some books, and then Persona has just been sitting there for the past couple months for $3, and I've been tempted to pick it up for $3, but I don't know if I had to read it. Anyways, Icon. Valentine continues to explore the politics of the fascinating near-future world first introduced in Persona, once again following Suana Sapakai, the face of the United Amazonian Rainforest Confederation. At an age where politics operates with the flash and spectacle of reality TV, faces are the celebrity representative of a country, attractive, charismatic people who simply deliver the decisions made those who hold the real power. After surviving the deadly events of the last book, Suana and her official paparazzi, Daniel Park, get involved with the face of America as Suana rises to giddy heights of fame until unpredictable events result in worse than a simple assassination attempt. Public disapproval. Valentine's deepens and broadens one of the best conceived features in recent sci-fi and adds in plenty of tension and twists to keep the pot boiling. The first book had like this eco-terrorism type thing where she came from the rainforest and she went to this like UN type thing, and then there was an assassination. The only person I know that has read the first one was Rachel from Colonati. It's 336 pages, hardcover, Saga Press. None of my friends have read it. No one that I've followed has read it. Right now, there's only 6 ratings. Let's check out Persona 1. Persona 1 has a 3.4 with almost 400 ratings. Yes, Miss Jane, Booktuber, she gave it a 4. She liked it. This story revels in a deeply cynical view of global politics in an area of surface over substance. but still manages to enthrall as we watch Sawana fight her way out of seemingly impossible situations. And then Rachel from Colonnati gave it a 3. I remember she thought it was fun. Mogsy from Biblial Sanctum gave it a 2 out of 5, which is relatively low for her first book. So yeah, if you read the first one, let me know if you liked it. The second one's out. Icon by Genevieve Valentine. Here we go. We had a new Sandman Slim novel. I've been wanting to try Sandman Slim. It's like post-apocalyptic, paranormal, fantasy-ish stuff with like angels and demons and whatnot. The Perdition Score by Richard Kadri. Sandman Slim is back, and once again embroiled in a supernatural plot that holds dark implications not just for James Stark and his band of demons and freaks, but for every single soul on the planet. Called in by the Sub Rosa Council to investigate a missing child case. Slim acquires a vial of mysterious black liquid with which a friend is inadvertently poisoned. The only place to secure an antidote, of course, hell itself. And Slim and Candy head there determined to save the day. Along the way, they discover evidence that Wormwood's undead servants have made a deal with rebel angels seeking to block humanity from heaven, and the consequences might be worse than anything Sandman Slim has ever encountered before. If you like Jim Butcher's Dresden Files and you like Supernatural, the television show, I think you would like the Sandman Slim series. This is the 8th book in the Sandman Slim series. It currently has a 4.35 with about 50 ratings. None of my friends have read it, and none of the people I follow have read it either. Let's go ahead and check out the most liked thing. Joe Johns gave it a 5. He has 3 likes on it. Yep. It's just like, it's very fun, have fun type of book. Carissa says, overall, this is a wonderful addition to the Sandman Slim series. I was happy to see our gritty, butt-kicking Stark make a return to the story. I like the new plot around Wormwood and continue to enjoy all the sassiness, grittiness, and action in this series. Kadri has a very distinctive writing style, and it's one I enjoy a lot. I would recommend this whole series to those who enjoy gritty and action-packed urban fantasy. I want to try these books out someday, for sure. Wolf's Empire by Claudia Kristen and Morgan Grant Buchanan. Beloved Babylon 5-star Claudia Christian launches an ambitious new sci-fi series with co-writer Morgan Grant Buchanan. It's this new thing now for people that are from like established sci-fi or fantasy TV shows to co-write a book. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. Anyways, in a galactic empire modeled on ancient Rome, young nobleman Akala Virdius gives up her titles in order to train as a gladiator and seek revenge against those who slaughtered her family. Her turn in the gladiatorial games gives her more than she bargained for when the Emperor decides to use them as a means to settle a burgeoning civil war. The alien life that inhabits the planet that has been co-opted as a massive arena begins to fight back. Okay. And Kala herself is forcibly conscripted to fight against those she's sworn to kill. Filled with inventive world building and memorable sci-fi details. Make this one a genre-bending winner. Kala's weapon of choice is a lethal disc that always returns to her hand. So it's kind of like that Kroll boomerang thing. Well, that made it much cooler because Kroll is awesome. And that boomerang thing is amazing. Wolf's Empire. Here we go. Claudia Christian. It has a 4.71 with 7 ratings only. 2 reviews. Some people have it marked to read, but no one actually reading it. Let's see. Let's go ahead and read this random thing here. Mel. Oh, she has it listed as queer, so that's if you guys are into having characters that are LBQTA or whatever, this might be your thing. Advanced copy of this by Claudia. I'll admit it was at first a little dubious from the idea of a space realm setting, but it worked so well. The book manages to be dark without resorting to rape or show the trials of the heroine. Very good. I like that. Gender politics is handled beautifully. The world that has been created is sexist to the extreme, but at no point do the leading female characters accept it. Cool. Plot has many twists and turns and never ends up going where you expect. I appreciate the characters were mostly bisexual and open about their sexuality and relationships. I highly recommend this book to everyone, fans of Babylon 5, obviously, but also fans of other science fiction epics like Dune or The Hunger Games, or fans of classic Roman literature. This might be something that might actually be decent. Like, it's from Tor. Tor, almost 500 pages. I think the cover kind of threw me off. I didn't really expect that to be a Tor cover. It's not the greatest cover. But if women kicking butt, not putting up with men, trying to win in a gladiator ring on some weird alien planet sounds cool to you, check this out. I think it sounds cool. Charles Stross' new book, The Nightmare Stacks, The Laundry Files Series number 7. So this is like a fun spy British paranormal fantasy type thing. I heard Thomas from SFF 180 talk about this last week. Vampires, bloodsucking, Cold War type era. Yeah, if that's your type of thing, go for it. I'm going to skip that one. Here we go. A new book by Larry Niven and Stephen Barnes. The Seascape Tattoo. Huh. Larry Niven has been around for a long time. Regular collaborators Larry Niven and Stephen Barnes team up for a new epic fantasy about Eros of Azteca and Neoloth Potter, a swordsman and a sorcerer, respectively, who have been at each other's throats for decades. When Neoloth's beloved is abducted, he knows he has no choice but to make peace with his bitter enemy, the only man capable of rescuing her from a group of dangerous dark wizards. Lovers of old-fashioned sword and sorcery will find much to adore here, from the unapologetic embrace of time-tested tropes, from the bickering former enemies turned reluctant comrades, to the enigmatic princess stolen away to an isolated tower, and world building that brings in elements of ancient Aztec culture. Cool. We have 3 ratings on this one so far. This is from Tor as well. 400 books. Or 400 pages. Not 400 books. That would be long. Pretty by the numbers fantasy for the most part, I think. I do like these books where people that are against each other, deadliest of enemies, come together and they do their quest together. I do think those are fun. I think they're just a lot of fun. Yeah. All right, let's check out Amazon hardcover. What's on the slate here? The Curse of 10th Grave, a novel from the Charlie Davidson series. As a part-time PI and full-time Grim Reaper, PI and Grim Reaper. That's kind of cool. Let's look this one up. I'm curious about the other books. It drives me nuts when they put a novel at the end. By Darnda? Darnda Jones? Dorinda. Probably Dorinda. No one's read it that I know. Dorinda. Charles Davidson. Let's check out the first thing here. Charlie Davidson number 1. That is Charlie Davidson, yeah. A 4.07 with almost 50,000 ratings. Wow. All right. Erica B from SOS Books. Give it a 3.5 stars. Well, I should have been zooming in on these. Sorry. Peggy, give it a 5. It's 5. 4 from Sarah Price. Alice Ann, 4. A bunch of them marked to read. Couple known, yeah. So this is definitely something for everyone, I guess. Paranormal, urban fantasy. The first one was from 2013, I believe. No, 2011 from St. Martin's Press. All right, let's look at the synopsis for this. Charlie Davidson is a part-time private investigator and full-time Grim Reaper, meaning she sees dead people, really, and it's her job to convince them to go into the light. But when these very dead people have died under less than ideal circumstances, like murder, sometimes they want Charlie to bring the bad guys to justice. Complicating matters are the intensely hot dreams she's been having about an entity who has been following her all her life. Okay. And it turns out he might not be dead after all. In fact, he might be something else entirely. But what does he want with Charlie? And why can't she seem to resist him? And what does she have to lose by giving in? With scorching attention to high-octane humor, First Grave on the right is your signpost to paranormal suspense of the highest order. Yeah. So, yeah, it's an urban fantasy with all the urban fantasy stuff you would expect. And the newest book is out. Okay. The Nightmare Stacks, we talked about that. Age of Myth, we talked about. Another Star Trek book. They seem to be putting out a non-fiction Star Trek book every week. 100,000 Worlds by Bob Prolaire. A Cavalier in Clay for the Comic-Con age. Cool. Valerie Torre took her son, Alex, and fled across Los Angeles 6 years ago, leaving both her role on a cult sci-fi TV show and her co-star husband after a tragedy blew their small family apart. Now Val must reunite 9-year-old Alex with his estranged father, so they set on a road trip from New York, Val making appearances at comic book conventions along the way. That's kind of cool. As they travel west, encountering superheroes, monsters, time travelers, and robots, Val and Alex are drawn into the orbit of the Comic-Con regulars. That's kind of cool. It's a very interesting premise. Alright, let's move it on. That is 100,000 Worlds by Bob Prolaire. Sounds interesting. Eleanor Herman with a new book, Empire of Dust, Blood of Gods and Royals. Another Doctor Who book. Seems like every week there's a Doctor Who book. Wolf's Empire is here. The Seascape Tattoo is here. The Big Sheep. A novel. Okay. Los Angeles of 2039 is a baffling and... what is that word? Bifurcated. I've never read that before. Bifurcated place. Okay. After the collapse of 2028, a vast section of LA, the disincorporated zone, was disowned by the civil authorities and became essentially a third world country within the borders of the city. Navigating the boundaries between DZ and LA proper is a tricky mess, and there's no one better suited than the eccentric private investigator Ursimus Kane. When a valuable genetically altered sheep mysteriously goes missing from Esper Corporation's labs, Kane is the one that they call. Of course. Huh. Who's this from? This is from Thomas Dunn Books. It's 320 pages. That sounds like fun. The Swan Book, a novel by Alexis Wright. An inventive cacophonous novel about an Aboriginal girl living in a future world turned upside down where ancient myths exist side by side with present day realities. That sounds very cool. Looking this over, this is kind of like one of those weird, strange type books. New Weird, that's what it's called. New Weird. Australia. So Australia people, if you live in Australia or like to read about Australia, it's in Australia. Write toys with the edges of the world we live in to offer us an intimate portrait of the realities facing Aboriginal people. We meet talking monkeys, genies with doctorates, spirit-guiding swans, and a whole cast of characters drawn from a myth and legend and fairy tales. Alright, so I'm getting a very strong Vor vibe from this. Alright, The Swan Book by Alexis Wright. See if there's anything else. Icon. Polly and the Shadow Goblin, Book 3. The Watchmaker of Philology Street, the Spanish version. I don't know why Fall of Light 2 is listed as June 28th. Alright, let's move on to paperback. Let's see, these are the paperback books that came out. I know some people buy paperbacks. 1 year after, a John Matheson novel by William R. Forstchen. Legacies, Book 1, Star Trek book. Battlefront, Twilight Company, a Star Wars paperback. Oh, The Invasion of Tierling, the paperback came out today by Erica Johansson, if you haven't read that yet. I have not read those yet. The Confessor, the first Confessor, came out mass market. So if you're a Terry Goodkind fan. Magic's Bitter, Magic Sweet by Charlie N. Holmberg. Let's check. Let's see what that's about. Marie is a baker with an extraordinary gift. She can infuse her treats with emotions and abilities, which are then passed on to those who eat them. That is creepy. She doesn't know why she can do this and remembers nothing of who she is or where she came from. Huh. She gets kidnapped and required to create sinister confections. Oh, cool. So she's the one that creates the witch's gingerbread house. And the little cookie boy, the guy that, I'm the gingerbread man. And size-altering cakes from, Alice in the Wonderland? So it's kind of a fairy tale thing. Oh, it's the author of Paper Magician series. Cool. I find that Charlie N. Holmberg has great ideas. What's this from? 47 North, 300 pages. That sounds like something that a lot of people would actually read. Got some more Hammer, 40,000 books. Charlie Strauss, The Annihilation Score, an Andre Files novel. It's probably the previous Andre Files novel. On paperback. Mythic, Volume 1 by Philip Hester and John McCrae. $17 paperback. Series Mythic by Image Comics. Oh, this is Image? Mythic. Oh, it is. Oh, yeah, this actually looks really cool. Get my comic book nerd on. Science is a lie and an opiate for the masses. The truth is, magic makes the world go round, and when magic breaks, Mythic fixes it. Apache Shaman Watterson, Greek Immortal Cassandra, and cell phone salesman Nate Jayadharma are the crack-field team assigned with keeping the gears of the supernatural world turning, and more importantly, keeping you from ever knowing it. Very cool. Collects Mythic 1 through 8, so 8 issues. Remind me to look and see if this is on Comixology. Okay. Mythic Volley of Blood. Michael Z. Williamson. Fitzlieber's Fod and the Grey Mouser. Forevermore. Attack on Titan. The Lost Girls. Attack on Titan. Come on, second season. Alright, anyways. Call to Duty. Manticore Ascendant. With Timothy Zahn and David Weber. Boy, they have been making books for forever. Bombs Away by Harry Turtledove. Came out paperback. I don't understand this. Hope in Red. Oh, it was a mass market paperback. Hope in Red. Complete Aliens Omnibus Volume 2. It says Genocide and Alien Harvest. Natural Way of Things by Charlotte Wood. Batman. The Dark Side. There's a new mass market of Ocean at the End of the Lane. Okay, now it's just repeating itself. Alright, that's good enough. So yeah, those are the things that are released this week. June 28th. Obviously the thing I'm most excited about is probably Age of Myth. I do want to read that. I probably will read that, but I'll be waiting until Christmas to get that. I definitely want to read that. I think that the Sandman Slim books are something that I want to try eventually and see if I like them. I think this Wolf's Empire by Claudia Chaston and Morgan Grant Bachman, I think that has a possibility of being decent. You know, Roman gladiators, young woman kicking butt in the gladiator ring, different planet craziness going on. She not caring about anything. I think that sounds good. Yep. So those are your releases for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If there's anything that you think looks cool that I missed, or anything I talked about that you think looks awesome, go ahead and tell me about it down below. If you've read anything that I've mentioned, please let me know if it's any good or not. Thanks for watching. Everyone have a great day, and take care.